I have for you today is a frame that I bought from Gearbest, gearbest.com. This is known as the 450 X-frame alien quadcopter frame, and it comes in a simple box like this. I've now opened it for the first time, and also this one, you'll see the link is down in the description. This kit also comes with some landing gear. These are the F450 landing gear, and it's nice that it comes in a kit, which makes it a little cheaper. Right, let's see what we have in the box. Battery strap, Velcro, and we have a set of arms, black, and I suppose this is supposed to be red, but it doesn't matter, it's close enough. And a whole bunch of screws, some aluminium standoffs and anti-vibration balls, some more Velcro and more screws, and the quadcopter plates, top and bottom. And this is a camera mounting plate, which I know from some videos and some things that I've seen elsewhere is supposed to mount there. However, in the box itself there are no further instructions, so we are going to figure out how this works. Now, just as a matter of interest, let me just pack this out here so you can see everything on the screen. Right, those are the legs, the strap, that, and that. Okay, I can't fit everything onto the screen in one go, but yeah, my area is a little limited from screen space. Now, the legs seem to come with a little instruction pad just how to screw it onto, and I seriously doubt that these instructions will have anything to do with assembling this frame. So I'm going to open that. There are 4 legs. They actually seem pretty stiff, not bad. So that's there, and we've got that set of screws for them. I'm going to put them one side so I don't get these mixed up. And you've got this little basic sheet, and yeah, it basically just tells you how high it's going to be, which is 150 millimeters, and they just tell you where to screw it on. Basically just that, nothing more. So this frame we are going to have to figure out for ourselves. Now, why did I buy the frame? I initially bought the frame because I wanted to build a quadcopter, but now that I've got it, chances are I am going to use this as a new platform for my CX-20, which I am thinking about transferring onto this frame. Okay, now it's fairly simple to figure out that this is the bottom part, and the reason I say so is there are 2 screws mounting, 2 mounting screw areas, so you couldn't fit that onto there because there's 4 screws. There's no way it's not going to fit there, so obviously that's for the bottom. Now that's going to be on the front. I'm going to keep that to the one side, and maybe I should just go ahead and just assemble this, without just showing you. I'm going to actually assemble this and quickly show you how this assembles. Now, interestingly, this little bit of Velcro I'm not quite sure what it's used for, but we'll figure that out as we go along. Right. Keep those to the one side. With this one, I have decided that I am going to keep red the legs at the back, rather than having them at the front as I see traditionally other people do. Now you may ask yourself, why, Rihanna? Why do you want them at the back and not at the front? In all probability, when you do fly these quadcopters, you normally have the back facing you, and it's a little easier to see the red. It's useless for me to see the red at the front, because half the time you're not even going to see it because it's at the front, and it's a little easier for me to spot the red. However, I was expecting this so-called red to be a little more visible. The other thing we also have to bear in mind is this is it seems to be copper, and the screws that turn in there are also metal, so it's metal on metal. And when you do screw metal on metal, use blue Loctite or anything similar. In my case, I'm using Win's blue thread locker, also called nut lock. This is a removable type, so it's the mild thread locker. So you don't want to use the hard Loctite, because you're not going to get that removed if you need to, and you're going to break screws. Right, let's go ahead and put that together. Right, before I continue with this, just a quick note. I am going to be assembling this without using the thread locker, but that's just for now, because later, when I do transfer the whole thing to installing the flight controller, etc., I will decide what I want to place where, and I may need to disassemble, and I don't know if I'm going to disassemble the top plate or the bottom plate, etc. So I'm just going to first assemble it loosely to see what it looks like, and later decide on my placement of the parts that I need to place. These are screws. I've just dropped all these screws into a little container so that I can easily reach them and they don't go all over the place. I'm going to put those one side for now and get these fitted. As I said, I'm not going to use the thread locker for now. I'm just going to screw it in, and once I have my entire quadcopter ready, I will add thread locker to these screws. A side note, there is no integrated power distribution board, so any project that you fit onto this will require its own power distribution board, which is a bit of a schlep, but it's not a train smash. Okay, as you can see, it is actually incredibly simple assembling this, and the need for instructions, etc., I can understand why they might have decided, you know, you don't need it any longer, because it really is simple. The alignment on the holes is not great, it's not perfect, but it's not unworkable. These screws, incidentally, are Torx screws, so you do need a hex head Torx screwdriver. Right. Another nice thing about this frame is that the front legs are wide apart, so for those guys who just want to fly FPV or do simple filming without gimbals, etc., it really does make your life a little easier to reduce prop view from your footage. And that is it. It's quite simple. Now, what we have to bear in mind also here is that the only standoffs which have been provided in this kit are these aluminium standoffs or spacers. No plastic spacers for the mounting of flight controllers or anything else has been provided. So if you do want to mount anything on a spacer, you will have to purchase spacers separately. I'm just going to turn all these screws in loosely for now. Here is an example of why I don't want to tighten the screws from first screwing, because you sometimes need to push these back and forth to get the holes aligned on these cheaper boards, and sometimes even on the more expensive frames and boards, the holes do not always align. Yeah, here we go. Once you have everything in and you start pulling it down, really tightening it up, the others can't misalign, and it's a lot easier to get the entire thing fully assembled. You need to see here, it seems this hole is slightly in that direction, so I push it like that. Okay, there we go. And the last arm. Right, now that we have everything threaded, all these screws are still loose, now we can tighten them all down. Remember, don't try and over tighten these. Once you have thread locker in, or nut locker, whatever you'd like to call it, you just need to get it to that stage where it's going to hold on to it. You don't want to pull that mounting out of the plastic, because even though they are made to be fairly strong, they are not indestructible. So turn until, I like to say, the 2-finger turn. So I turn until 2 fingers becomes uncomfortable for me to turn. But that's my opinion. You're welcome to your own way of doing it. But I feel that the pressure that I can exert with 2 fingers is more than enough to hold this type of frame together. And also not like that, you know, yank it. Just turn from above. That should be more than enough strength to keep it together. Once you have the legs mounted, this entire frame, which initially feels a little wobbly, actually stiffens up quite a bit. This is now quite rigid, and I must say this is very light. The frame is incredibly light. The legs do not flex a lot, very little, and all in all it actually seems pretty sturdy. So I'm happy with that. The aluminium standoffs, where you're going to be using them is in the battery bay. Now actually this battery bay can be used in multiple ways. You can actually insert a battery there, or on top, or 2 like that, or even 2 like that, inside or on top. But it all would depend on how you prefer to balance yours. And if you have a camera on the front to balance it out, and you want to find the center of gravity on this quadcopter is around there. There's the center of gravity. So you want to bear that in mind. So once you have mounted your flight controller and your battery and your camera, etc., you want to keep the center of gravity there, because your motors and your flight controller doesn't like to struggle trying to keep weight from the one side in the air. Alright, but that's just me again. To mount the standoffs, we're going to remove them from the packaging. Right, let's just keep the vibration reduction balls, or whatever you want to call these things, one side. And to get these in, let's place them in there, and we do them one at a time. Again, I'm not going to tighten it down crazy. I'm going to put them all in before I start pulling it down or tightening it down. Alright, now since that is the last one, we can now tighten this up. Right, we need a hex torque head, which is a little larger. Again, normally you would use thread locker here, but since I am going to be disassembling this later, all I want to do now is just see what it looks like. Right, turn it around. And I must say, this is very good. I like this. It's quite rigid, sturdy, and all in all, I think a good buy. Okay, just to see what it is like, let us go ahead and mount the landing gear as well. Okay, with the landing gear, it normally mounts as part of the arm mounting at the bottom. So it's just as well I didn't decide to thread lock this, because I wasn't paying attention and did not note that. Now the screws which they supply seem to be the same as the ones that come out there, but let's confirm that they aren't longer. Here are the ones that have been used on the arms, and these ones are in fact a little longer. So yes, we're going to remove those. Okay, and we need 2 of these screws. Now if I take the screws that come with the arms, you can see there's quite a bit of a difference. The landing gear, obviously with that little extra added, requires that extra length. I'm probably going to be removing that again to do the thread locker, but until I have everything set, there you go. That is how the landing gear is mounted. Alright, there we go. The landing gear is now installed, and I must say I'm impressed. It's decent. That's the front, obviously, and the only thing we still need to do is mount this little camera plate. That's a camera mounting plate, but I'm going to show you how we do that just now. For now, the landing gear does give you quite a bit of space. That's 150 centimeters or 150 millimeters from edge to edge, the height that it gives you. So you've got enough space here to add a gimbal, etc. Let me just get a standard cheap gimbal that I have. Here's one of those cheap gimbals, and I can tell you, once you have that plate installed there, you have more than enough clearance here. Let me just get a ruler there and measure the approximate clearance that you will have to the bottom of your gimbal, and that is in millimeters. You have 50 millimeters of clearance, which is pretty good. And yeah, there you go. Okay, let's do the last thing. Let's quickly get that little camera mount for anti-vibration plate mounted as well. That's just if you want to add small little cameras. Now there is actually, I've seen a bit of a trick trying to get these little rubbers in, and I think that's the first thing that we are going to do. Let's just add those rubbers. So let's put the frame one side for now, and we take this part of the plate, and let's hope that that's a little easier to do than trying to get them first onto the other side and then to this side. These little vibration absorption balls, or they've got so many names, but anti-vibration balls, let's keep them to that, anti-vibration balls. That's when they just come out. Now this has a little slit in there. Now you can try the traditional method of trying to get them in there, but I've seen what a lot of guys do is you just squeeze it and then into that. There you go. See how simple that was? So you squeeze the whole top of it and you just slip it in there, and there you go. So it's actually incredibly simple and not as difficult as some people say they have hell try and get these balls in. It's actually very, very simple. There you go. Quick. Very simple. Now, yeah, I can believe it might get a little tricky, but let's try that same method. Let me just get this angled in such a way that you can also see what I'm doing. Oh, I'm moving my camera. Alright. Okay, there you're not going to quite see what I'm doing. Let's see if we can get it here. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze and pull down, and there it's in. Squeeze. Oh, this one actually comes from the front, so you have to pull it a little forward. I'm going to have to squeeze from the side. Squeeze and pull it into the gap, and there we go. That's actually quite simple. Do the other side. This one goes from the front, so we are going to squeeze and pull down, and there we go. That one's in. And the last one. Sorry for bumping the camera there. Well, the last one might be a little tricky. I'm going to pull that up first just to get it into the area. Squeeze. Hold on, I haven't got a grip on that. Let me turn it this way around. I can use this hand. Right. Squeeze and pull down. And there we go. That is in. I'll just turn it so that you can see. You get this little vibration or anti-vibration plate on there for mounting little cameras or other whatever you like. And I've just shown you how simple it is. That is it, guys. That's the entire frame with the landing gear. That is the X450 Alien quadcopter frame. Simple, straightforward, and I think pretty rigid. There you go.